Hello and welcome. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on this special marathon telecast on NewsX as we, of course, track 101 milestones that have been achieved in the year 2024 towards the building of a new India. Why are these significant? That's something we're going to be focusing on as part of the Bharat Progress Report 2024 right here on NewsX. Joining us live at this point is Rishabh Gulati, Editor-in-Chief of NewsX. We also have Dr. Sharat Kohli, Senior Economist, live with us, and we're going to be focusing on the green economy in this segment. So let's take you now through details of milestone number 47 and why it's important. India's non-fossil fuel-based power generation this year hit a record 213.7 gigawatts. Rishabh, what makes that significant?
Okay, this is really interesting, Uday, because non-fossil fuel means so you're not using coal or LP or liquefied LNG, right? Now 213.7 gigawatts. We were at 185 odd gigawatts last year, so we've added that much capacity, which also means that only about 7.5 or 8 gigawatts of this is nuclear power. Okay, everything else is either wind or solar. So, ladies and gentlemen, as of the end of 2024, beginning of 2025, India is nearly hitting 50% of its power generation capacity from non-fossil fuels, which means that in the year of 2025, we will cross that benchmark, that we will be producing more green energy than the old energy of coal and natural gas. We have, in addition to this, 120 gigawatts of renewable power under construction, which means 50% more of this is under construction. Very shortly, we'll cross that threshold of more renewable and less fossil fuel based.
Yes. Milestone number 48 now in this, of course, year that has been achieved is on the tiger deaths now. Tiger deaths in India has fallen by 37% in this 1 year alone, Rishabh.
Okay, remember the reason I put this in this milestone calculation is because the tiger population is talking about the health of your conservation system, the health of your ecosystem, the health of your forestry system, the health of your reserve system. Now, the fact that our tiger deaths, and remember 75% of the world's tigers are all here in India, okay? India has a tiger population of about 3,600, 3,700. So, now the number of tigers that are dying through all causes has gone down, which means that their ecosystem causes, habitat causes, I mean tigers eventually will die of natural causes, not just man-made causes, because the ecosystem has improved, therefore the tiger deaths have gone down by a third. And that's happy news because it tells you largely about your green ecosystem in the country as well.
Yes. Let me take that across to Dr. Sharat Kohli. Dr. Sharat Kohli, clearly, of course, huge increase in the capacity of production of non-fossil fuel power generation this year. That's a big milestone. Also now, tiger conservation improving as well. Tiger deaths going down, beg your pardon, by almost 37% in 2024.
Good evening, Uday, and to Rishabh and the NewsX viewers. I think India's achievements in renewable energy is extremely noticeable, and if you observe the proceedings of COP conferences, the COP conferences which keep happening every now and then, and the commitments made by the emerging economies, I think India has been at the forefront, and India's commitment to, for 2070, which was made some time ago, India is running far ahead of that. And a very important issue is that this is despite that the monetary commitment made by the developed part of the world has fallen much short of what was expected. So India on its own, with hardly any support from overseas, hardly any investments coming in that direction, has been able to overcome. And I would like to particularly mention about the solar energy here, because in solar, India is now doing better than any
Yes, we'll be
time
getting to that
before.
shortly as well. Yeah, in detail.
And on the tiger front, I think as Rishabh rightly said, the improvement has been there in the overall maintenance of wildlife in India. Even some of the other species also have seen this improvement, but tiger especially, because there was a whole mission on that, and there was a whole program on that, Preserve Tiger. So I think this is very noticeable that now tigers survive more, and
Yes.
it promotes tourism, it promotes environment, it promotes overall impression that the country carries with regard to preserving
Yes.
wildlife there.
Okay, let's quickly now examine the next big milestone, in fact, which is on electric vehicles. And EV sales in India has gone up now by 25.6% this year. It's gone up to a figure of 1.3 million in 2024 with this push for EV reaping dividends, Rishabh.
Okay, now very interesting electric vehicles, because we are talking about the green economy. So you talked about the health of the green ecosystem, which is tigers. You've talked about renewable power generation crossing the 50% mark for the first time, and can happen anytime now. Probably by the time we get the next report, we'll be past that mark. But look at EVs. EVs, global hot topic, electric vehicles. And if we consider electric vehicles and to be powered by green energy as the future of green transportation, well, here's the math. India sells about 18 million two-wheelers every year. In addition to that, we sell about 4 million four-wheelers in the domestic car market. So about 22 million vehicles every year are sold in the domestic car market. Okay, our sort of goal is 30-30. That means 30% by 2030, which means within 5 years' time, we want 30% of new vehicles being sold in this country to hit electric vehicle category. We are now growing at 25% per year. In order for us to hit, and this 1.3 odd million is mostly two-wheelers. So in order for us to hit a 30% target, including an incremental growth in domestic sales, you will have to have 6 to 7 million EVs being sold in India. So you're already near 1.5. If you keep growing at 25%, by 2030, 30% of all new vehicles sold in India will be electric.
Yes. What does this mean, Sharat Kohli? What has led to this spurt this year in EV sales?
Well, I think if I answer your question absolutely discreetly, a survey says that 92% of the people who bought EV vehicles, who started using EV vehicles, never want to go back to fossil fuel, don't want to go back to petrol and diesel for that matter, which means that the talk of infrastructure not being there, the talk of the range of the cars or the vehicles, the talk of charging infrastructure is a thing of past now. I think the speed at which it is catching up is much more than expectation. And I personally feel, this I would like to convey to Rishabh as well. I think this is going to have a ripple effect, and you will find that this target is achieved much before 2030. And my statement is based on talking to consumers across the board about their experience of EV. I'm using an EV as well. And I can tell you with conviction, in the next 2 years, you will see that all the problems related to EV, this is notwithstanding the fact that the government has withdrawn most of the subsidies it was giving to consumers, most of them, if not all of them. Despite that, we are going to grow faster. This will spread like wildfire, and you will see we reach that target of 2030 at least 2 to 3 years before the anticipated date.
Okay.
Right.
Yes. Let's. We certainly hope for that. Aapke muh mein ghee shakkar, as they say in Hindi. Let's quickly now move across to milestone number 50, which is on houses, and of course, this is at 1.45 crore houses, and this weighs into what Sharad was wanting to emphasize on solar. Have been registered for rooftop solar already, and 6.4 lakh homes have already got solar now. Rishabh.
Just now digest this many milestones within one milestones happening at an exponential rate. Okay, so we're talking about green economy. Now look at the country of India. Just about 18 months ago, our rooftop solar power generation was about 3 gigawatts. Okay, so 3000 megawatts. It is now nearer 12 gigawatts. So 12,000 megawatts of power is being produced from the houses of people in this country, from institutions and office buildings who have rooftop solar. So these are micro projects. Okay, now every project differs. A house will have a small system, maybe office building will have a bigger system, a residential complex might have a bigger system, but we have gone up 4x in just a few months. Okay, now look at the figures on your screens. I want to put these figures. 1.5 crore houses have shown interest in the scheme. The scheme was targeting 1 crore houses. 1.5 crore houses have shown interest in the scheme. Only 6.4 lakh have got it. Okay, 6.4 lakh have got it, but I'm saying only because the potential of rooftop power generation, solar power generation in this country is 800 gigawatts. And if we are able to roll out rooftop solar units to every single household that wants one, your rooftop generation will go up from 10 to 12 gigawatts to 200 gigawatts, which means what is the current solar power generation in this country, you will add an equivalent amount just from rooftop solar. It is completely revolutionary what is taking place. It has gone up 4x. It is set to go up 20x from this in the next few years.
Yes, and we certainly hope that that will, of course, continue in the next few years, as Rishabh was saying. But very quickly now, staying with solar and our capacity of generating further solar power energy, India this year has hit a 94.4 gigawatts solar power capacity this year alone.
Okay, so we talked about the 210 gigawatts odd of renewable power, okay, of which only 7 is nuclear. The rest, of course, is hydro, solar and wind. Look at solar, 100 gigawatts. We have gone up 2x, 3x in just the past 3 or 4 years. So as of ending of 2024, there is nearly double this under construction. Of the 5 biggest solar power projects in the world, 2 are now in India. One is in Gujarat, other one is in Tamil Nadu. So you are seeing a boom, exponential boom like never before. We've already discussed rooftop solar, which is an entire thing on its own.
Yes, absolutely. Sharat Kohli, 94.4 gigawatts, solar power generation capacity 1 year itself. What does this mean? Also, the kind of number of homes now going solar, just the numbers get, bigger and bigger every single year. This is a point you were wanting to make earlier.
Yes, we are a sunshine country, Uday. We should not forget that. It was only high time that we had to use that sunshine to our advantage while being environment friendly as well. Well, I assign this exponential growth to reduction in the cost of solar panels. 1, 2, indigenization of the manufacturing of solar panels. We were at one point of time totally dependent on imports, mostly from China. But now with the innovation happening, with government promoting, solar panel manufacturing in India, it is picking up like anything, which is sharply reducing the cost. And in the next 2 to 3 years, you will find these costs going down by another 30 to 40%. The moment that happens, this revolution is going to become the next big revolution, and you will find people craving for solar panels on their rooftop, reducing the dependence on customary electricity supplies, which this country has been facing a problem from times immemorial, Uday.
Yes, let me quickly now turn to news now coming in from the agriculture sector, and of course milestones there as well. Now, India's wheat production has hit a record 113 million tons, Rishabh, in 2024.
If you take the next one also there, and if you can bring this up on our screens, which is, I think, rice production, and let me put them both in perspectives. 53, please. Whoever is figuring out the graphics, please.
Milestone 53, which is also very significant.
Apparently, that's very difficult. Oh, there we go. Okay, so 113 million tons wheat production, record, highest ever. Okay, 120 million tons rice production, record, highest ever, 2024. Okay, so India is wheat and rice surplus. Now, we have to be careful with that statement, because of course that means that we have to create our reserves accordingly, that we have reasonable food to eat for everyone while providing a reasonable income and a wage to the farmer. So, it is a complex subject, but in sheer metrics of how much can we produce, do we produce enough to feed ourselves in terms of staple crops and whole grains like wheat and rice? Yes, we are. Okay. Does that mean we should open up the taps and start exporting tomorrow morning? In certain categories, in certain quantities, I'm sure, yes. But imagine this, record, highest ever. Now, there are times in the past when we have bumper crops, good monsoon, bad monsoon, all of this will even out. The curve will become flattened with better irrigation. But bottom lines is what we want to talk about in milestones. These are the 2 bottom lines are there.
Yeah, Sharat Kohli, big milestones. records being hit in wheat production and in rice production as well this year. What does that say?
Well, indeed, these are staple crops, and we've been talking about it for a very long time. And it is because of this kind of bumper crop that we have been able to maintain schemes like Garib Kalyan Yojana, where more than 81 crore people are being given free ration every month for last several years now. It's going to continue for some more time. It is only because of that. But having said that, I still feel there is a need, apart from creating the reserves that Rishabh spoke about, there is a need for some part of this farming to move to commercial crops. I think that will balance the things out. The constant problem that we face about farmers in terms of the incomes be increasing or the MSPs, all that discussion about agriculture, I think can be balanced out if we move some of this farming to commercial crops as well, while continue to remain as a food basket for the world today.
Okay, so that shift should take place is what you're clearly saying, but records being hit says a lot about, of course, the agriculture sector and the state of it currently, which is often spoken about, but now turning now to ethanol blending as well, which is something also that has been the focus of this government in the last few years. India this year has achieved 15% ethanol blending. What makes that significant?
All right, so let me put some very quick perspective in this. Okay, so India's two biggest imports is energy, which is oil and natural gas, okay, and defense. So the maximum amount of money that is spent, that burns a hole in our foreign exchange reserves, is these two items. Okay. Now, imagine the day when India could eliminate energy import or net eliminate energy import. It would be a game changer for the development of the country. It will be the first time ever in the history of independent India something that happened. It would be a game changer for every single individual human being. Now, how does that happen? Okay, so that's going to happen with electric vehicles and green energy powering those electric vehicles, which we are going to say that, okay, 30% of new vehicles sold will by 2030 be electric, and hopefully we can create the power from green energy for them. Okay, the next is petrol. Ethanol is coming from crops that you can grow within India. Okay, it comes from sugarcane and other kinds of crops that you can grow in India, from corn and others. We in 2017-2018, India as a country was producing around the 600 crore liters of ethanol. As we stand today, we are producing 1600 crore liters of ethanol every year. We have crossed the 15% ethanol blending already. By next year, within one calendar year, we're going to hit 20%. That means 20% of your payment which you have to make to all these Arabian countries to buy oil gets reduced. Of course, you have incremental oil growth also, so it's not a straight one for one, but we'll hit 20% next year. Okay, and ethanol, we are yes, killing it. You need to produce another 1,000 crore liters, and we are killing it on that front.
Absolutely. Sharat Kohli, let me take that across to you. 15% ethanol blending achieved by us this year alone. Very, very significant. Again, a big, takeaway of our push for renewable energy.
Exactly, and it's a win-win situation on many fronts. Apart from what Rishabh mentioned, if you allow me to add, the rupee under pressure because the import bill, 87% of our oil requirements are being imported. And look at the pressure on the rupee these days. It's already about to hit 86. We are hitting all-time record of rupee. It's simply because one of the major reasons is import bill. And if we are able to eliminate this huge import bill, the biggest import that we make in the country, you can imagine, as Rishabh rightly said, you can imagine what magic this can do. It will save our foreign exchange reserves. It will make rupee stronger, and we can also think of rupee going global, because the dependence on dollar is going to reduce. Apart from the natural benefits of environment friendly, the more ethanol we mix, the less pollution the vehicle does or wherever it is mixed. So I think the 25% target which the government has set, I also believe it's going to be achieved sooner than later. But even before that, what we discussed earlier, I won't be surprised if EV revolution catches faster than the ethanol revolution. In that case, the ethanol revolution might become redundant at some point of time in very near future, Uday.
Yes. Okay. Let me quickly now turn our focus to our next big milestone. that has been achieved in our green economy push, and that is that India has begun a 3,600 crores development projects in Lakshadweep. So this is the Lakshadweep island right over there, very, very picturesque. 3,600 crores development. What is this entailing, Rishabh?
You know, the reason I've included this in the green economy category is because modern India, okay, which is India as it stands at the end of 2024, the beginning of 2025, for the first time is presented with an opportunity to bring all its, not only ours, global knowledge systems on doing green sustainable economic development. Okay? So, the solution to creating a green sustainable future is not to say no investment, no infrastructure, no economy. No future is the greenest future. That's a very dystopian view. So we now have an opportunity in the islands and the peripheral roads and the port projects that we're going to be developing in Lakshadweep, which has never been done in this scale before, 3,600 crores to develop all of this as part of the Sagarmala and other projects, to get it right. We have to look at what the Maldivian capacity generation has happened, just a bit south of the Lakshadweep. It's a similar island chain. You're talking about coral islands. You're talking about massive in tourism economy that exists over there. You're seeing the photographs there, of course, of the Prime Minister who visited in the beginning part of the year, Lakshadweep, when this was inaugurated. So you can see not only the internal domestic tourism potential, but the international tourism potential. Look at Mauritius, look at Bali, look at the Maldives, the Seychelles. These are sort of similar island chains, not Bali, of course, but Seychelles, Mauritius, similar island chains, the Maldives, similar island chains in the similar region, similar kind of beauty, which is for us to develop in the right way. So we have to get the ports, the dockyards, the berthing facilities, the hotel infrastructure, the transport infrastructure, the ferry services, all of this spot on. And this is a huge opportunity for India to prove its mettle in sustainable and green development. And let us make sure that we are all keeping an eye on that this happens the right way. You want the photo to look exactly like that, okay? But you want access and ease of use to improve and pollution not to be affected. So all that infrastructure, the knowledge that we have to make sure that this happens in a sustainable way, we have to get right, which is why we included it in this category.
Yes, indeed. The push has been made. Let's hope that potential of Lakshadweep is, of course, tapped in the next few years. For the time being, I'm going to leave it at that because we've run out of time in this particular segment, but we are going to continue this marathon telecast on the other side of a very short break. Don't go anywhere. Rishabh Gulati and Sharad Kohli. For the time being, thank you both for joining us.